So let's talk about recommendation letters, right? Like, it is one of the most important things in your application. It is the one time that somebody else is speaking about your activities or your character or your abilities, and the admission committee takes it seriously, because even though you say you're amazing in your personal statement or you say you're amazing in your CV, the recommendation letter is somebody else either agreeing with you or disagreeing with you. And you do not want to mess this up. Like, you don't want to do this anyhow. You don't want to take this for granted. You don't want to, put yourself in a position where you would not use this to your advantage. So I am going to share 3 very important things to keep in mind when you're working on a recommendation letter or when you're trying to get one. The first thing is you want to get someone who can speak to your strengths and character quality or experience and speak to it in a way that is strong and passionate. Like, this is not the time you want to go to that person that you're not sure whether you're on good terms with. This is not the time you want to go to that person that you've had problems with. Like, this is just not the time. You want to pick somebody who can speak to who you are and speak about it from a place of pride, of passion, and really show through their letter that they want you to do well. The second thing is you want to ask this person for that recommendation letter early. If you put people on pressure and have them work on your letter when it's like a few weeks to when it's supposed to be due, they won't do their best job, and you don't want to do that to yourself. So people ask, when is the best time to ask for a recommendation letter? My answer is the moment you realize that you want to apply to study in the US or Canada or anywhere. That's when you should start requesting your recommendation letter, right? Like, you want it to be early enough to the point that the people who are going to work on it, you have picked them out, they have accepted, and they have months to get it together. Now, if it's something that you came to the decision of, kind of last minute or really relatively later than you would like, I get that makes sense. But keep in mind that you also want to give the people writing your letter enough time to do the work that they need to do to sell you to the admission committee, right? The third thing is what the actual letter says. So this is a mix of things, right? For some people, you do not get to see your recommendation letter. They send it directly to the school. It's not like they give it to you and then you submit it, right? That's one way. And if that's the case, like, it's okay for you to ask your recommender if they could please provide a copy of that letter for you for your reference. 2 reasons for this. Number 1, you don't want anything in that letter to be a surprise to you. You don't want that, because it could come up in your interview if it's a program that you have to interview for, and it could come up at some point in your application review process. So if it's something you need to go back and speak about in your personal statement, so for example, if it's a teacher who you didn't do that well in his class, right? You want to make sure that you address that in your personal statement if somehow the teacher doesn't say that you are a stellar student or you were a stellar student in his class. That's an example. So you actually seeing the recommendation letter is what I recommend. Either you see it first and review it before they submit it, or you kindly request that they give you a copy of it for your reference. That's also another way for you to gauge whether you want somebody else or you want that person to write your recommendation letter or not. Now, I know that can be kind of an uncomfortable or controversial recommendation, but this is your application process. A lot of recommenders, in my experience, don't have a problem with you having a copy of that letter. But if you don't sometimes explicitly ask for it, they may assume that you don't want it or you don't want to see it. Now, some application processes, also like the medical school application in the US, for example, you get to designate which letters you want to go to certain schools, right? And so having an idea of what each person said about your letter or what each person said in your letter, you can then use that to frame, okay, these 3 letters will go to this school and these 3 letters will go to that school. These 3 letters favor what the school is looking for, or these other 3 letters favor what the school is looking for, right? That's why I recommend that you get a copy of your recommendation letter. So this is general tips for recommendations. I want to know what you think. Do you find this helpful? And if you do, let me know in the comment section. Until I come your way again, I'm your girl Winnie, and I want to hear from you soon. All right, talk soon. Bye bye. I go follow you, follow you. Anything you want, I go do for you. Oh, nah, nah, baby, anything for you.